Hello and welcome to Gym with Gwynne. I'm Oliver Gwynne, and this is where we talk about data marketing and philosophy. If you're new here, I try and give you some informal, unstructured thoughts every week about these things. And this week, I'm talking about barriers to the sales funnel and why they can actually be a good thing. Now, I love sales funnels. Every single business that we work with, the 173, and every single business that I've worked with in the last 10 years, the first thing I do is customer journey, touch points, and then life cycle stages. Why? Because it tells you pretty much everything you need to know about the business. And I want to make a distinction here and say that a funnel is not just getting people to use your services. It's also the life cycle of them afterwards. How often do they use you? How do you upsell them the next thing? When do they naturally churn? All of that kind of thing. And if you can plot this out, you can optimize your business 10x very easily if you're willing to change the way that you operate, the way that you sell, maybe your price points on that. If you're willing to change the way that you operate your go-to-market strategy as a business and you have the data to support those, then it can make a huge difference in the long run. And so it's always the place that I love to start. Now, in a perfect world, you'd have 100 customers and all of them would go down that funnel and they'd all convert. So they'd become customers. Sorry, there would be 100 prospects that become customers, but we all know it doesn't quite work like that in real life, does it? Unfortunately. And actually, in many cases, that can be a good thing. It can be a good thing to have 99 people on your sales funnel and only one converts. Why? Because those 99 people were the wrong people for you. You were going to waste your time, effort, and energy talking to all those 99 people, selling to all those 99 people, following up for months on end with those 99 people, maybe offering a discount to try and get them to convert to those 99 people. And ultimately, they were not the right people to you. And your cost in chasing them was quite high compared to the one person who converted. And so it makes sense to filter those people out as quickly and as easily as possible. So the reasons you want to put in a barrier in your sales funnel are quality over quantity, resource optimization. So you've got limited amount of time, you've got limited salespeople, make sure that they're spending their time on the people that are most likely to convert. It's not always easy to identify those people. Some people just naturally seem like they want to buy from you and they don't. There's also some people who will get stuck at certain stages in the pipeline where they seem interested. You want to get them to the next stage and they're just never quite ready, and you waste time on them, and that's always difficult. But you will increase your close rates, you will improve your sales rep morale, and ultimately you will build longer term relationships with prospects because you're not trying to sell to them too early. You're recognizing where they are on your pipeline and you are communicating with them effectively. And what do you need for this? You need your sales operation data in one place, which is not always easy because, for example, if you're B2B, your sales team are using LinkedIn. They've all got personal LinkedIns. They've got 1,000 people on there. How do you then track those people and where they are and the messages? Okay, you've got Sales Nav and you can see the last messages on those things. That might be a way to do with it, but some people don't want to do that. And still, is it appropriate to then add all of those 10,000 people maybe to your CRM? Probably not, to track that. You should only use your CRM to the people who are onto the next stages. And so it can be difficult to centralize all of that data. The next thing is to define your steps. So make sure that each step is very clear, has a set of rules associated with it, and it can't be conned. It's not subjective in any way that your salesperson goes, oh, I need a warm lead this week, and so here's my warm lead, and I've got 10 of them because this guy really is interested, and then never comes to anything. So you want to get rid of all subjectivity and just say, if somebody does X, they're at this stage, and it's better to have less stages that more people can easily understand where people are than it is to have a million stages that accounts for every possibility. And while you're always going to have edge cases, design your funnel to the majority of the people. So there are three major ways in which you might want to create a barrier. The first being price. Now, this blog was prompted by a client that we were working with. They have a second or third step in their funnel where, without giving your personal information, without giving any email or anything like that, they can give you a price, an estimate up on the screen. And that estimate is obviously a bit rough. And if you're happy with that, you then go through the whole process. And they had an amount of drop off at this stage. And my younger colleague was saying, oh, it's really bad. I need to optimize this and so on and so forth. But I was saying, well, depends how you look at it. Now, you might look at it and say, yeah, we want to get people's personal information and then we can upsell them in the future. We can get back to them. We can offer them discounts, all this kind of thing. And we know who they are. We can also tie that back to our marketing efforts. That seems like the most common use case. But actually, there's another way of thinking about it, which would be if they then go through all of the process to give you all of their details and they can't afford you, they're less likely to come back to you in the future. They're more likely to be annoyed that they've gone through all this process. They'll be worried what you're going to do with their personal information and expect you to upsell them. Whereas if you've only just given them a price, it's too high, they've not had to give you any information, they can go away. And maybe they come back in the future, they think, oh, it only took 2 seconds, I didn't have to give away my information. Let's try again and see if that's changed maybe today. And so while it might seem operationally better to collect everybody's information at this step, actually, in terms of end customers, it might be more profitable to scare people off with pricing. And the same is true of anybody who is doing bespoke work. So we as an agency, we need to know quite a lot of information to give you a bespoke quote. But we try and give you some indicative pricing early on to scare you off, because it saves us time and effort and all of those kind of things. If people don't respond to the ballpark figures, which we're normally quite broad on, and we try and go a little bit higher so you'll be pleasantly surprised, then it makes a lot of sense to scare them off. And we see this, it's a lot easier if you're in a commercial business or you're selling SaaS or anything. You can have your pricing and you can say, this is probably what it's going to cost you based on the amount of users or whatever it might be. And you can scare people off relatively easy at that point. And again, it's a good thing to do early in your funnel stage. Scare off the people who can't afford you and make sure that you're optimizing towards the people who can. The second one, and this is probably a little bit one that you might want to debate with me, effort. So for a lot of businesses, as part of your funnel, the person you're selling to is required to put in some level of effort. And it might be a 20, 30-minute call, might need to be that they need to give you a level of information so you can quote them, like in our case, all of these kind of things. And certainly it's very frustrating for your sales team when you say, hey, can we just get on a quick call, or can we do a demo, and people don't take you up on it. And you can understand the reasons why, because it's not just the 30 minutes. One, I don't know about you, but I go to a lot of these things when I'm genuinely interested, and then 30 minutes becomes an hour, which pisses me right off. And let me tell you, if you book a call with Oliver, I don't go over time. You know, I'm normally doing other things. I will never, ever go over time. I will wrap up as quickly as possible towards the end. I promise you, if it's 5 minutes over, that's the most I will ever be over, because I personally find it so annoying when you book a half an hour call and you look at the clock and it's been 45 minutes. And even though, oh, you got to stay on because we've not got to the part whether you're interested yet, I'm like, ugh, no, it's really, really annoying. So you can understand that it's not just the fact that they're probably going to go over, it's also the fact that then they're going to follow up and sell to you, and it might be months, and then you're on the email list that you never signed up to and all this kind of stuff. And so it makes sense to put in a barrier of effort. Because, hey, if you're not willing to give half an hour so that somebody can give you a more accurate quote, or they can show you the tool, or that you can talk to them about questions that are not publicly available, then they're probably not going to spend the time with you to spend an hour explaining their business so that you can make the solution, or onboarding you and all this kind of stuff. Because there's definitely more effort when you're in project with somebody, or you've onboarded them to your SaaS tool and you've got to train the team on how to use it and all this kind of stuff. So if they're not willing to give you that initial effort, then it's a good sign not to spend more of your time and energy chasing those people. So an effort barrier is also good. And the last thing is time. So how long do things take? It's often very difficult to tell as a business. When are you going to deliver? When are you going to ship? When is this product that you've signed up to the waiting list actually going to be available? Sometimes difficult thing to answer. And so that can be a good barrier to include as well. Give an indication of 3 to 6 months, or we're going to ship in June. We're expected to ship in February. We normally ship around this time. Because if people can't wait, good. Get them off your sales funnel, because they're only going to get angry with you when they're waiting. They'll be disappointed. There's an expectation that's not being met, and they become unhappy and unreasonable customers later down the line, and it causes more problems to your business ultimately. And so, quite briefly there, barriers can be good in the sales funnel, because you want to get rid of the people who are not willing to work with you, to spend the time that you maybe need. And it's better to focus your time, energy, and effort on those people who do